Hey, what's up gamers, it's me, Heard the Gamer, and welcome to another tier list live stream, where I'm just going to be sharing my opinions of both killer and survivor perks, and how good they are, and how bad they are, and if you should use them, and how you shouldn't use them. Unless you're doing a specific build to use them, then that's fine, but if by themselves, it's like, I'm going to be basing it off by themselves, not with other perks, so yeah, let's get right into it. Starting off, obviously, with the survivor perks. So, give me a quick second. I have to open up the chat on my phone so I can keep track if someone is text or saying something in chat or not. Alright. First perk, Ace in the Hole. I'd say it's about a C tier. It's pretty handy if there's a chest. By itself, it's like not moving it down a tier. Okay, by itself, it's actually not the best perk in the game. But at level 3, it'll give you like searching through a chest, you obviously get an item, but it also adds add-ons, which is pretty good, but depending on what you get and depending on what add-on you get, it's random. Literally, this perk only depends on opening chests, getting an item with an add-on on it, and even then, add-on is not the greatest. It's probably one of the worst add-ons, not gonna lie, but hey, I mean, this perk's better than most perks on this tier list, so. And again, my opinion, but this perk's not the greatest, but it's not F. I can say that, it's not F. Adrenaline, S tier. I'm not even being biased. This perk is literally situational. Sure, you have to wait until all gates are powered, but even then, it heals you. If you're on the ground, you get back from dying state to injured to healthy, just like that, with a speed boost on top of that. Plus, if the killer's about to pick you up, at the right moment, before they pick you up, if the last gen gets done, you can just run away and they won't even know it until last second. They'll be like, dang it. But yeah, Adrenaline S here. Like, yeah. You could be like, oh, but you're being biased. It's like, but I'm not. That's literally how it is. Aftercare is a B tier. This perk can be good in, like, I guess Survivor Friends. If you're playing solo queues, it could be also good, but at the same time, it could be bad if playing solo queues with this perk. Because the survivors that are injured sees you're healthy, so they'll run the killer to you, making you take the hit, and this perk's basically almost like a sandbagging perk in a way. It's after you heal someone, or after someone heals you, after you unhook someone, or they unhook you. You both see each other's auras for until you get hooked again. So yeah, this perk could be good sometimes, but this perk could also be bad, and it could lead down to your path of dying because you're in a solo queue where survivors are just greedy and be like, you take the hit, I don't want to die. But yeah, moving on. Alert, A tier. The reason why I put this in A tier is because, one, this perk can give you notification every time a killer breaks a pallet or breaks a wall or breaks a generator. You can see the killer's aura, if it's a killer with a heartbeat, that is. If it's not, then it's like, well, you now know it's a stealth killer, and so you have to be cautious. But if it's not a stealth killer and you see their aura, it means if you haven't seen the killer yet, and if you saw their aura, that means you know who the killer is now. It's also good in looping, where if you break the, like, after they break the pallet, there's a few seconds of still seeing their aura by a little bit, so you can tell which direction they're going. So if they go the opposite direction of where you're running to, then you're like in a safe zone basically for looping or getting away. And if you see the killer going one way, you can go the other. And if you see them, like if you're on a gen and they're the other side of the map, but they're heading your direction, then you could be like, oh, I'm just going to leave this gen where it is and make them think I'm still here. So yeah, Alert is an A tier. It's not S tier because, again, there's a lot of perks that are S tier that deserve to be an S tier, but yeah. Moving on, Enemies Necessary, also S tier because, again, it helps with looping for yourself and others. If the killer doesn't break a pallet, it just recently got buffed not too long ago, where now if a drop pallet, where there's a drop pallet and it doesn't break, you can see its aura and you can go run to it and it'll have a 60-second cooldown of picking it up. And yeah, so basically you could be like, oh, the person dropped the killer shack, but the killer didn't break it. You can go to the killer shack and lift it up and start, or keep it, the looping going. Yeah, that's what I would say for Any Means Necessary. It's a really good perk, I would say. It's something you should definitely try to get if you've been playing this game for about a few months to a year. Then this perk is definitely for you. Next, Appraisal. It's a pretty low B. Um, it makes it where you can just after searching through the chest, you can research a chest. It's okay, I guess. It could be situational in a way if you find a key, but if you can't find a key in the 3 default chests, then it's like, the perk's not the greatest by itself. Again, these are all by themselves, so yeah, by themselves, yeah, they're good. But Appraisal by itself, it's not the greatest because, yeah. But it's not C tier because you can search the 3 default chests a total of 6 times if you're the one that finds all the default chests and then researches them. So which means you will have a total of 6 items in the game for everyone else to have. Autodidact, D tier. Possibly C, but it will be a low C then. But this perk is, sure, you have to wait until you hit 5 tokens, and then you can basically almost insta-heal someone. But even then, you have to wait until you hit skill checks, and if you're doing a co-op action on healing someone, it's not going to give you a skill check because it'll heal super fast, especially with Circle of Healing being a thing, which we'll get to soon. It's literally not the best. It's probably one of the worst things. Also, give me a second. Okay, so back to Autodidact. So yeah, you have to wait until you hit 5 specific skill checks on Autodidact, and then basically after those 5, you have all 5 tokens, you can almost instantly heal someone. Even then, skill checks are pretty rare when healing because how fast it goes. So you just gotta pray you get at least like 1 or 2 skill checks before they're fully healed, and hit them before it fully, like, completes the healing thing. But if they're on the dying state and you heal them, yeah, you'll get a few skill checks from then and there. But if you don't, that just means that's just your luck. But yeah, Autodidact's not the best perk in the game. It's better than Ace in the Hole. Because again, by itself, it's healing perk, but you have to wait until you get 5 tokens, and that's not the greatest. And you have to hit skill checks to get the 5 tokens. And it's not really that situational, so Babysitter, or Guardian now, I would say it's a low D because, so sure, it now increases time of, what was it again? Oh, the blood and scratch marks of the survivor. But even then, the killer will see your aura, and you can see the killer's aura, and that's not the greatest, especially if you're not good at looping. So it's like, So it's like, what should I do? Yeah. By itself, I mean, all perks can be by itself, but even then, it's like, I don't think there's any perk that goes with it unless it's breakdown. Even then, you have to be a survivor friends to know that, so yeah. Moving on, bounce landing. It used to be an S tier, but now it's like an A tier because when it was an S tier, it made it where if you fall from a high place, you don't get the stagger effect, which was really good. But then they nerfed it where if you fall from a high place again after being exhausted, you don't get the staggering effect, and it's easier for you to go down. So yeah. Bounce landing is now like a low A because of that, but even then, it's still a good exhaustion perk. Like, all exhaustion perks, except for one, will be basically A or S, in my opinion. But yeah, so bounce landing is like a low A. I think it's probably the third worst exhaustion perk in the game. There's two exhaustion perks I'm thinking of that are not the greatest right now. Actually, it might be the second. Bounce landing situational. That's basically what it is. Like, if you find a place where you can fall from a high place while being chased, then it's great. But if you're going against like a Huntress, a Nemesis with a whip that's tier 3 already, or anyone who's ranged in a way that can make you like make it where bounce landing doesn't work as much, then it's not the greatest exhaustion perk. Because again, you have to go from a high place, like up from the second story of a building, the second floor or something like that, or from a hill. Like, that's situational. And it's not the greatest. Alright, better together, or I'm not even situational awareness, the longest perk name in the game. It's a B tier. It's can be handy, but it can also be your downfall because again with Aftercare, if you're working on a gen, all survivors can see it in a specific range. So which means if the killer if's on this survivor, they could be like, oh, there's someone on a gen, go for them, not me. But even then, it's better because if you're working on the gen, if you're working on a gen, if someone goes down, you can see all the other survivors' auras for a specific amount of time, and all the survivors can see that aura of that one generator, so which means you can do co-op action with like prove thyself and stuff like that to get the gen done faster. So yeah, that perk is a really good perk. But yeah, bite the bullet. I would say it's an A tier because actually I'll put it. No, yeah, no, by itself I'd say it's lower than alert, but yeah. So bite the bullet is actually a really good perk you can get from Leon S. Kennedy. We'll say its only downfall is you have to heal yourself or someone for it to activate. So in the meantime, if you don't have Iron Will, you'll be grunting until you start healing, which is not the greatest. But even then, it's a good perk because missing a skill check on someone, it won't make a noise notification. So it's like, yay. On yourself or anyone else, like if you miss a skill check, it won't make any noise notifications, and you have no grunts of pain. So it's like, yes. But yeah, so bite the bullet's a really good healing perk in a way, but compared to Autodect. But yeah, that's where I would put it. Blast Mine, I would say it's about a B tier. It's really situational, depending on how the killers, like, if they know you have Blast Mine, they'll, like, most of the time people will bring Ruin, so this perk is not the greatest, because when you activate it, Ruin will be up, and you'll be like, oh shoot. That means the killer won't be able to kick it, and I just wasted it for a while. Oh well. Yeah, Ballast Mine is pretty situational. If you do wind up getting it, the the killer will be blinded and stunned for a duration, basically making it easier for you to get away, or if the gen was like 99% done, if you wanted to just wait, you could be like, alright, wait until they kick it, they're stunned and blinded, and you can just finish the gen in their face and escape. That easy. But yeah, it's not that easy all the time, so that's like situational. So yeah, that's why it's a B tier, in my opinion. Blood Pact, I'd say it's about an A tier. Originally, it was where it was just a few seconds of healing your obsession, you both get the haste status effect, but now if you and the obsession are near each other, you both get the haste status effect and until you guys leave the specific range of that perk. And so it's a really good perk, especially in a Survivor Friends. If one's the obsession and the other one isn't, you could be like, oh, I can see your aura, you can see where I am, so you don't leave the killer to me, so I can do this gen or something. And then after they're done being chased, you can heal them, and boom, you both have haste status effects, and you're faster than the killer by like 2%, which is not a huge difference, which is like a newer perk that just came out, or not just came out, but will come out next Tuesday. So yeah, Boil Over literally got a buff, and now it's A tier. It used to be a D to F tier, but now with it's like kind of buff, but with a nerf, it's actually a really good perk, and it's actually they made it where now it's a really like it's a really good perk. Like that's all I can say. Basically, falling from a high place, you get 33% added to your wiggle bar. So add flip flop to that. Again, by itself, it's still good because it also hides the auras of hooks in a specific range. It also makes it where the killer like moves more constantly than ever. And again, falling from a high place, it's 33% added to your wiggle bar if they fall, like the killer falls from a high place. So yeah, that perk is just all around now one of the good perks, especially for slugging builds. Next is Bond. I'd say it's about here, A tier. If you're playing like a solo queue or Survivor Friends, like regardless, this perk's really good because if you see the Survivor, you could be like, it's also a good sandbagging perk, but even then, I don't use it for that. I use it for like prove thyself or something, finding someone. But yeah, I use it to find people to help me with gens and stuff with my prove thyself. But I also use it so I can stay away from those specific survivors, so they can finish what they are doing, and I can just loop the killer for a little bit longer, hopefully. Even then, I don't really bring aura perks because every time I accidentally go to a survivor because they're too far range, but then I get closer to them, it's like, oh shoot, I just led the killer to them. The killer will leave me and then go for them, and it's like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. So it's like, and then people yell at me for bringing it, being like, oh, why'd you bring that perk? It literally is just a sandbagging perk. It's like, I brought it just in case I didn't have to sandbag you guys, but that's why I don't bring aura perks as much anymore, or at all. Yeah, moving on. Circle of Healing. Boon Circle of Healing, I should say. Literally, like, top tier. Like, one of my new favorite perks, but also one of my, and one of the best perks in the game after they just added boons, which are just hex totems for survivors. And it's you can constantly keep putting it up. Like every time they destroy it, you can re-put it up. That it's infinite unless all 5 totems are broken. Then you can't use that perk. But yeah, so this perk is really good, and combined with another perk which I'll add here soon, it's overall like it's not I would say it's kind of situational, but not as situational as other boon perks. But yeah, this is probably the best boon perk in the game currently. But yeah, it makes it where if you bless a totem, you can heal yourself without anyone helping you, like 75% faster. And it's better than self-care, which I'll also get to in the future. But yeah, this boon perk is one of the best healing perks in the game. Adrenaline's still better because, again, it gives you a speed boost as well as healing. Well, Circle of Healing, it's infinite. Every time there's a totem up, you can bless it, boom, you have it. Even then, it's like you need a totem up, though. That's why it's situational. It's because if there's no totems, you can't use this perk. But yeah, that's the boon Circle of Healing. Also, my voice is going to get tired by the end of this live stream, so... Next, boon Shadow Step. Okay, it's literally made by the same person, too, so the same teachable, but who cares? So... This combined with Circle of Healing makes it where... I don't know what that was about. But yeah, I think my stream was lagging, so... But yeah, it's to represent, like, you hide your aura, hide scratch marks, and the boon's tear radius. And basically, combined with Circle of Healing, it'll counter Nurse's Calling. But most people don't bring Shadow Step because of that. Like, I don't know why people don't bring Shadow Step. A lot of killers bring Nurse's Calling. And that's what screws them over. Like, they just bring Circle of Healing thinking it's like, oh, they don't have nurses. Boom, they find them immediately with barbecue or nurses. And it's like, should have brought Shadow Step so you can at least get this heal off. But nope, you wanted to be greedy. Alright, Borrow Time. S tier. This perk is basically an anti-tunnel perk, but at the same time, depending on the killer, it can still count as, like, non-anti-tunnel, because, for instance, Leatherface, or Cannibal, yeah, for some reason, he counters the hell out of Borrow Time, so which makes him, like, if you're in the basement, you're screwed. If it's a Bubba in basement, and you have Borrow Time, you're all screwed, like, there's no chance of winning. Yeah, that's what I would say for Borrow Time. Next is Botany Knowledge. It's situational, so I'd say it's the first C tier. It's situational because you need an item to heal yourself faster, or you need to heal someone faster. Like, it's good combo with kinda Autodect, but not as much because, again, you need skill checks, and Botany Knowledge increases the speed of healing. So yeah, it's an okay perk. Even then, it's not okay because it's like, this is an amazing, this is a good, or this is a great, this is good, this is decent, this is bad, this is god-awful. Thankfully, there's no god-awfuls yet, which there's literally some I see right now. But yeah, so, Botany Knowledge, it's just situational. You just have to heal someone and it'll increase it by like 55% or something like that. Overall, it's an perk. Alright, Breakdown. It's actually, yeah, I'd say it's about here. It's a B tier because, again, situational. Basically, after you get unhooked, the hook won't respawn for like 180 seconds or something like that. And you and the survivor who unhooked you, both of you see the killer's aura for like 4 seconds. It's good, but situational because depending on where the killer's aura is where you should not go. Even then, if it's a stealth killer, it's not going to work. So, which means you just have to run and hope for the best. Yeah, that's where I would put Breakdown. Next is Breakout, and I'd say it's actually A tier. Or, yeah, no, A tier. Why did I put an S tier? I'd say it's A tier because, again, it's situational. Where if you're near the killer who's carrying someone, it'll increase the survivor's wiggle speed. And it'll give you the haste effect, making you faster than the killer. Unless they have agitation, then they'll still be faster than you. But even then, most of the time, people don't bring that perk, so it's like, yay, you have the advantage. By itself, it's a decent perk. Well, not decent, it's actually a really good perk by itself, but with other perks, it'd be one of the best. But But by itself, it's A tier. It's really good and situational. And most of the time, the reason why I'm saying it's situational is because most of the time people are not near the down survivor with breakout, so it's like they can't get out because, or the survivor can't get out because the other survivor with breakout's not nearby because they're on the other side of the map and they won't make it in time. Plus, there's usually hooks right next to where they get down. So, all right, buckle up. Literally god awful. Like, I don't even know why it's one of the worst perks in the game. Literally, you have to. So how it works is when on the ground, when recovering, it'll show everyone how close you are to being fully recovered. Um, and I think it makes it where your aura turns white or something. I don't remember because nobody ever uses this perk. But and then after you get picked up from the ground, both you and that survivor can see the killer's aura. Why? It's why perk. It's why does it exist perk? It's not that. It's horrible. Nobody even runs it because, yeah, there's a one specific perk that's actually really good compared to all this. So, yeah, built to last definitely goes up to A because of its buff. But even then, it was still already an A tier, except it was a low A tier. Now it's a higher A tier. The reason why I'm saying it is because now, after it's what was it? What was it again? So after an item gets like broken, I think you just go into a locker and it'll fully make it come back. I think with add-ons, I don't remember how the buff, but because I haven't used it since the buff. But all I know is I think you go in a locker after the item's fully depleted, and you get like 99% back with the add-ons, which is like actually, what am I doing? It literally should be like an S tier. What am I doing? Thinking about it, I think it's an S tier. If I'm not, then I'll go back to where it was. But regardless, after thinking that in my head, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it's like, damn. I was about to put that in A tier. But yeah, that's where I would put it because they'll just basically when the item's depleted, you can bring it back to life. And it's like, damn, that's OP. Come Spirit, it's again situational. Give me a second. Okay, so Come Spirit can be situational. Basically, when running past birds, it doesn't disturb them at all. Like at level 3, it's 100% you do not disturb a crow. And also going against specific killers, you won't scream or make any screaming noises. But again, it's situational, so that's why it's a C tier. It's better than most perks. Like these perks right here. By itself, it's decently good. Could be better, but I mean, oh well, doesn't disturb crows 100% and you make no screaming sound. So when you're going against a doctor, you don't scream, giving your location away. So yeah, it's a really good one. The only way the doctor would know where you're at is if he pays attention on his shock thing, being like, oh, I hit 2 people, but yet I only heard 1 scream, so which means someone has calm spirit. Which I do keep track of it. Like, every time I see on my screen, every time it says 2 people were screaming, or it said 2 people went to madness, but only said 1 person was screaming, I know someone has calm spirit, so I'm like, oh, I have to be careful. Moving on, Kinship. Again, another one of those situational perks, but I'd say it's a B tier more. I'm not saying it's actual, like, what it was originally called. I'm calling it Kinship because that name is so damn hard. It's like, hell to the no. But yeah, so basically when a survivor is near you, your wiggle timer pauses for, like, 20 seconds, I think? Or longer, I don't remember. Because I don't use this perk either. I don't use a lot of these perks. But yeah, so this perk's pretty situational. If another survivor's near you, your wiggle time will be paused, and if the killer's camping you, it'll be paused if the survivor is still near you, and stuff like that. But it only happens if you're in struggle state, so it's like, questionable. Moving up to Clairvoyance, it's an A tier. Reason why is because after cleansing a totem, you see the aura of basically everything except totems. And you can even see Hatch in a 64-meter radius. It's better than something called Left Behind, which I'll get to later. Which, Left Behind is still a good perk, it's just Clairvoyance is just better because it'll show the Hatch in 64-meter range compared to the Left Behind one being a lower range. Plus, the Clairvoyance shows you more than Left Behind. But yeah, moving on to Counterforce. It's, again, situational perk. It can counter no-ed. Hex, no one escapes death. Basically, after cleansing a totem, a dull totem or hex totem, doesn't matter, a totem, you can see the furthest totem away from you, and you can go cleanse that, and it'll keep going until you have all, like, after your 4th totem, or after a specific amount of totems. If you don't see any more totems on the map, it means all totems have been broken. Or that you're blind, but still, yeah. It's situational, plus I think with Hex Third Seal, killer perk, you won't see the killer's, or you won't see the totem's aura because it hides auras to you, so it's like, yeah. Dance With Me, another situational perk by itself. It's like here. Basically, after fast vaulting a pallet or window, you leave no scratch marks for like 4 seconds. Sure, you still get the noise notification and the killer saw where you went, but if you have like a specific perk with it, a few specific perks with it, it will be a really good perk, like possibly high A, but by itself, it's at low B. Yeah, this perk is really good and situational in a way, but it's, by itself, it's not the greatest. Yeah. Dark Sense and D, actually, F. So it used to be a really good perk, but now with it, like this one perk that's been out for 2 to 3 years now, this perk is god awful. So if you're the Obsession, and a gen gets done, you can see the killer's aura. But here's the thing, there's this perk called Rancor, where basically if a gen gets done, you're the Obsession, you can see the killer's aura and the killer can see everyone else's location. Meaning that if you are the Obsession, if you have Dark Sense, and if they have Rancor, you won't know if they have Rancor until all gates are powered and you're exposed. So, yeah. Dark Sense is now an perk. Also, hi, Butterfly. Welcome to the stream. I'm just doing a tier list for so far, just the Survivor perks, and then I'll move on to Killer afterwards, but, yeah. I just got done talking about Dark Sense and how bad it was. Okay, moving up the list. Dead Hard. Recently got a buff, making it S tier. I'm actually using Dead Hard more than I've ever used Dead Hard ever, because I've always gone, like, hit through Dead Hard, which was stupid, but now it's got recently buffed, where basically now, and I don't know if this is still a thing, but if the person times their Dead Hard rights, if the killer hits you while in the middle of your Dead Hard, you'll make a screaming sound, where basically it sounds like you fell on the ground, and then the killer will be confused, being like, oh, I can go pick them up, and not realizing they're still up, so that's why you have to keep track on the left hand side. Plus, it's like a 50-50 chance of getting hit now in the Dead Hard animation. Almost guaranteed an escape if you can play your cards right as a Dead Harder. Yeah, so I put Dead Hard at S tier because I'm actually using it more. Deception. pretty situational. So basically, if you're in a chase, if you go to a locker and try to like pretend to fast vault it, it'll give a noise notification of you going in a locker. The killer will get confused, and you leave no scratch marks for like 4 seconds. The killer will be like, "Oh, they might have a head on or something like that." So you like debate it, and then not realizing they're not in the locker, they left. And then they open the locker and they're like, "Shoot, deception." But yeah, so Deception is a situational perk. But if the killer sees you do that perk, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not falling for this anymore, because I just saw you use Deception on me." So yeah, when killers find out that you have or Deception, they'll never fall for those tricks again. But yeah, Decisive, oh god, it used to be S tier, but now it's literally like one of the worst perks in the game. Because they made it where now if you, after getting unhooked, you have 60 seconds of being tunneled. You literally have to get tunneled for this perk to activate. If you or if you heal, save, do a gen, do a totem, do anything basically in the game, it'll deactivate automatically. It's still good if like the killer's camping and gonna tunnel you and stuff, but at the same time, it's like no. Deja Vu, it's a decent perk. Basically, in the first second you spawn in the map, it'll show the first 3 gens that are close together, and after for a few seconds, and then when another gen gets done, it'll show you the next 3 closest gens. It's basic. Actually, it's like that. I'm moving it up here. It basically prevents you from doing a 3 gen. So yeah, this perk's really good when you are like in a survive runs and you realize that you're about to 3 gen. You could be like, "Oh guys, do not do these gens. We need to go on the other side because there's a 3 gen right there." It's actually really good. And in a solo queue, you could be like, "Oh, I need to go do those gens before they can finish others." So yeah, Deliverance, A tier. After unhooking someone safely, then the second you get hooked, you can jump off the hook. 100% guaranteed, but you'll get the broken status effect for a few specific amount of time, depending on the level. It's good, but if it's by itself, it's an A. It's like the lowest A probably on this list, possibly. So yeah, because you'll be broken for a very long time, and without any other perks to help it, it'll be useless in a way, but you'll guaranteed get off, and you can possibly find Hatch if you're the last survivor. Moving on, Desperate Measures. It's an A tier because depending on how, like, if all survivors are injured, you do things like 16% times, like depending on how many people are injured, and you heal faster, unhook faster, like all that stuff faster, and it's like, damn. Except gens. It's only like the altruism action. But yeah, moving on to Detective's Hunch, B tier. It's a high B because when a gen gets done, you can see the locations of hooks, gens, chests, and totems in range, in specific range. And you could be like, damn, okay, well, it's time to go do these and stuff. So it's a B tier because it's situational. If a gen gets done, it's a good perk. But if the gen doesn't get done, it's kind of useless. So that's why it's a B tier. Distortion, it's a pretty low A, but it's there. When you're in a Sapphire Friends or solo queue, You can, like, mainly in Survivor Friends, if a person gets hooked and a token or just disappears, you know the killer has barbecue and chili, and you can warn everyone in your Survivor Friends group, being like, oh my god, he has barbecue and chili, next time hide in a locker if you haven't. And actually, this perk might be here because of that, so you can help your friends out as much as possible if it comes down to it. Or if they have like nurses calling, if you're healing someone and you lose a token, you know that. Or vaulting a window, or like any perk that's aura reading. Or a killer that has an aura reading, you can tell. And it'll hide your scratch marks and aura for a good amount of time. Moving on. I use speed vaulting build, where it's basically resilience, dead hard, spine chill, and adrenaline I just add, but I know it's supposed to be Iron Will. But I add adrenaline just in case, so... But yeah, speed vaulting build, mainly. But yeah, so Diversion... It's just a meme perk, but it's up there because sometimes it actually works. When in the killer's chair radius for a specific amount of time, crouch and hold the active ability button to activate it, and look at a specific direction, throw it, and it'll make a noise notification to the killer, and they'll just go straight to it. And there'll also be scratch marks leading where the pebble goes to the killer. Like, the killer can see the scratch marks of the pebble, and they could be like, oh shoot, I just fell for a diversion when I'm an idiot. Unless it's like in an open area where there's no gens, no windows or anything like that, then you know it's diversion. You could be like, oh, I'm not falling for that now. Empathy is a crime. Everything and anything is all the time. I'd say it's a better bond. Because you can see every survivor's auras when injured. And you can tell where not to go or where to go if they are not being chased. So, it's really good. I'd definitely try to get it if I were you guys, especially in a solo queue. So it's not like you're sandbagging someone, it's so you can be like, oh, let me heal you and stuff, or, oh, I'm going to stay away from you because you're being chased right now. But yeah, what is this perk called again? I forgot what it's called, but I'd say it's a C tier. Basically, it's a sandbagging perk where basically after Survivor gets hooked, you can get up to like 3 tokens, and after you hit 1 great skill check, those tokens will be consumed and put into a generator. That's it. That's literally it. Like, this with Stakeout is the worst because you can't get any more tokens, but you can get like a max of like 27 tokens or something like that. And it's insane. And I'll put that, and it'll turn into percentage into the gen, like 27%. And it'll be like, damn, that's okay, I guess. But even then, it's like not the greatest. 27% max? No. Fixated. It's there up in A tier because when walking, your speed is increased by 20% when walking, and you have to be fully healed for it to activate. And you can always see your own scratch marks. So yeah, it's good. It can come in handy, like in some cases, but other cases it's like not really. All right, Flashbang. I'd say it's A tier because it could be situational too. It could be like a flashlight or like a firework where basically you can save someone off someone's shoulder when using it. But you have to do a gen first and then go into a locker to press the active ability button, come out of the locker, and you'll have a flashbang. Give me a second. Sorry about that, I had to check something. So yeah, Flashbang is just A tier in my opinion, but a low A because situational for sure. Plus most of the time it won't work. So actually, I'll move down the list to a lower A. Alright, Flip Flop. It's definitely a B. By itself, it basically, after recovering to, like, basically the max you can, it'll go into your wiggle timer and basically get you out faster if there's no hooks nearby. Like, you'll get out faster. So yeah, that's basically where I would put Flip Flop, because it'll just increase your wiggle time. Moving on to For the People, it's like a low A. It's situational, where basically if a survivor, like, you can basically help a survivor who's on the dying state, but even then you'll both be injured. So it's better used to be like, oh, let's heal. Now all of a sudden you hear the heartbeat, it's like, nope, For the People, and just leave. But you'll be broken. So it's like, oh well. But yeah, it's a decent perk. I hope you and a survivor friends more, but yeah. By itself, it's an okay A. Head on. Ugh, the worst exhaustion perk in the game. Do I even have to, like, say anything? Of course I do, because I have to give my opinion. Basically, it's where you jump in a locker, stun the killer, after doing a rush action out of a locker, stunning them for like 3 seconds, and then it's back to a chase, and you have no exhaustion perks to help you, like Dead Hard, Sprint Burst, Life, like anything like that, because it's that useless. Plus, they can tell where you go, so it's like, yeah, it's literally the worst exhaustion perk in the game, and I wouldn't ever use it unless I'm using a meme build. Hope. People are like making this perk horrible as it seems, but it's not. At endgame, this one time I had Hope on level 3, and the killer was a trapper with a level 3 no-ed. I was faster than him by like 1%, and I escaped barely. I think that might be on a live stream too, but who knows? If I do have it on live stream or video, that's great. But if I don't, oh well. But even then, it literally was so situational that I escaped barely with my life. With a Trapper with level 3 no-ed. Trapper, defaultly with no abilities, is like the fastest killer in the game. And he had no-ed and I think Bloodlust, and I still escaped. And I was like, oh, thank the lords I escaped, because oh my god. Hope is just an amazing perk, and it's so underrated. Like, bruh. Inner Strength. Another good but situational perk, can only be used up to 5 times in a game. It's a healing perk, and actually it's probably here. After cleansing a totem, and when injured, you can go into a locker after like 8 seconds or something, you'll instantly be healed. And again, there's only 5 default totems in the match, and even then, most people bring these perks to boons, so it counters Inner Strength Thirst, so yeah. Sucks. Iron Will. S tier. Oh my gosh, like, if once injured, you'll literally make no grunting sounds, and you can lose the killer easily, like, by doing that. It's a really good perk, and I suggest leveling up the specific character Jake for it, because, yeah. It's just the best. This, Kindred. Almost forgot what perk this was. Kindred is one of the best perks in the game, because in a Survivor Friends, or in mainly a solo queue, you can tell, like, if, when on the hook, everyone can see each other's auras and the killer's aura. And when another survivor gets hooked, you can see everyone's auras and the killer's aura. So it's like, yeah, it has to be high A. Or it's pretty low, but it's like the middle. Leader is a pretty situational perk. Basically, when someone's opening a chest, cleansing a totem, opening a gate, it'll increase it. But that's about it. That's all it does. Or unhooking people, or you. That's all it does. It really doesn't do much. It also increases healing, but again, situational. And you have to be near those survivors for it to activate. Left Behind. Yeah, this is going here because, again, Clairvoyance is just better in my opinion. Because Clairvoyance shows more than just Left Behind. Left Behind shows a hatch in 32-meter range, while Clairvoyance shows the hatch in 64 and other things in the radius, making it better. But yeah, a lightweight. It's a decent perk. It can be situational as well, but basically, it'll decrease the timer of your scratch marks being shown to the killer. So all of a sudden you can stop running at a specific time, and it'll just make all the scratch marks disappear, making it harder for the killer to find you. But it can also make it easier for the killer to find you because they'll know which direction you're going. And if they reach the end point of the scratch marks, they'll know you stopped running. So it's a C tier. Life. This one, it's a questionable. These two are tied where they're at, but I think Bounce Landing has the upper hand, only because when using life, when fast vaulting a window or a pallet, you still can get hit and get the exhaustion stats effect on the ground. So that's why it's questionable whether it's higher or not than Bounce Landing, because Bounce Landing you won't get exhausted once falling from a great height or anything like that. But yeah, so that's where I would put it. Lucky Break, it's definitely S tier, because when injured for 60 seconds, you'll show no scratch marks or blood for 60 seconds. And when you heal yourself before the timer runs out, it'll pause the timer until you're injured again. So it's a really situational perk. Actually, there's a lot of situational perks. But that one's a really good situational because, yeah, you can get away from the killer pretty easily. Combine this with the Shadow Step and Boon, it'll be a really good combo. Medal of Man. Trash. I wouldn't put an F, but it's still bad because it got nerfed, and it's... Actually, I'll put it up here so people don't yell at me, but it's still a D. You can't change my mind. You need to take a total of 3 protection hits, and then your 4th hit, you'll be immune. And then the second you get down again, it'll deactivate and you can restart again. But even then, you only have up to... You get 1 hit, you're injured, and then to take another hit, that's 2, but you're down on the ground. Your 3rd hit, you'll be healed to injured, and plus, if you heal yourself in a specific radius of the killer, they can see your aura. Why? Why does that need to be a thing? But yeah, moving on. No Mither, worst perk in the game for survivors. Reason why is because you are injured throughout the entire game. The only thing good about it is that it increases recovery speed, and if you're going against a new player that doesn't know about No Mither, you can counter them easily. But if they don't know what No Mither does, it's like, okay, so basically you're screwed, because the non-newer players will know what No Mither does and what it is, and they'll just instantly keep tunneling you. No One Left Behind. Trash. All it does is basically when the gates are powered, like when you open the gates, when the timer's activated, it'll basically increase your healing, increase unhooking, increase everything, and give you extra blood points. That is it. There's nothing to it. Object Obsession. And it's good in the right hands, but it's a C tier for me because I don't like the perk because, yeah. It's good for looping sometimes, but it's not at the same time because if you go against a stealth killer, you're screwed because you can't see their aura, but they can see yours. Plus, I recently got like a nerf where basically it's on a cooldown. Which I don't know why that's a thing, but yeah, that's where I would put it. Off the record, I would put this here at an A tier, low A, because when getting off the hook, you have, I think you leave you don't show your aura, and you have no grunts of pain, and for 80 seconds. I'm pretty sure. Even when you fully heal yourself, it still has its, like, cooldown going, so it's like, ugh, great. So that's why it's worse than Distortion, because Distortion, sure, it hides your aura and scratch marks, and off the record, hides your grunts, pain, and aura. Even then, it's like, not the greatest. Open-handed. Situational. Could be good with other perks, but by itself, it's actually this. Basically increases aura perks. By itself, it's not the greatest. With aura perks, it's the best and it will increase it by 16 meters? I don't remember. I don't care. It's just a horrible perk by itself, so. Pharmacy. I'd put it here. Actually, more like here. So basically, it increases chest speed by 80%, and it'll decrease the sound of opening a chest, and it's guaranteed to medkit the first time. But sure, the other times you open chests, it still gives you the 80%, plus the reduction of the sound of opening a chest. So, it's a really good perk, but it's sad that it only gives you a guaranteed medkit the first time. Plunder's Instinct. I'd put it here. Right above Pharmacy. Appraisal, Plunderers, and Pharmacy make a good combo with Ace in the hole, but by itself it's good because you can find that chest and stuff like that, and I think it increases its rarity of the item by a little bit, but I don't remember how it goes, but yeah, it just shows the aura of every chest in a specific range. That's all it does. Yeah, Poised, I'd put it here above Dance With Me, because again, situational. You have to wait until a gen gets done, and it'll hide your scratch marks, and only scratch marks. And it can be used up to 5 times. And one gen will make it like 16 or not that, like 10 to 12 seconds, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember. I'll just say 10 seconds. It'll hide your scratch marks for 10 seconds after a gen gets done. But if you're already in a chase and the killer sees you and he sees you don't have scratch marks after a gen gets done, they'll be like, oh, he has Poised. I gotta keep that in mind, too. But yeah. Power Struggle. It's a really good perk overall, but by itself, it's still a good perk, but it's a B tier, like the high B, basically, because when going through a palette and I'm all basing these off of they're level 3. Basically, at 25 wiggle percentage, if a killer goes through a palette, you can stun them and get off their shoulders and just escape. But the reason why it's a B tier is because sometimes killers will keep walking, you'll throw it down, and it won't stun them because they keep walking. And it sucks, but yeah. Next, Premonition. Literal worst perk in the game for survivors, because so if you were like spinning your camera around, and if it activates, you won't know where the killer is because you were moving your camera around too much. But if you look one direction of where the killer is, it'll tell you. But then the killer can move their directions in an instant, and it'll be on like a 30-second cooldown. That's not a good perk for especially locating where the killer is. The killer can move its position whenever they want. and it'll only show you the position where they are at, where you look at them for like 2 seconds, and then, or not even that, and it'll be on a cooldown for like 20 seconds, and that's not good at all. It's not situational, it's nothing. It's literally the worst perk in the game for survivors. Moving on, Prove Thyself. It is definitely an A tier, because when working on a gen with another person, it'll increase the speed of the gen progression, and it'll give you extra blood points on top of that. So, yeah, it's a really good perk, especially in a Survive Friends or solo queue, like, so you can get the gens done faster and get blood points at the same time. I really like this perk so much. I have actually used it multiple times. But yeah, that's where I would put it. Quick and Quiet by itself, I'd say it's about B tier. Like right here. By itself, it makes basically fast vaulting a window, fast vaulting a pallet, or jumping into a locker, or rushing into a locker. Makes no noise notification, but it'll be on a cooldown for like 20 seconds. And basically that's all it does. Basically gives no noise notification to the killer, but with other perks, it will be literally high A. By itself, it's a high B, because it's by itself. Red Herring. Another meme perk, but actually a really good meme perk. Because, sure, it can also count as a sandbagging perk, but when, on a gen for like 3 seconds, it'll activate. The second you go into a locker, it'll give a noise notification to the killer. Also, if you don't go into a locker, it'll be highlighted in yellow for you until it's fully regressed, or until you use the perk, or until you touch another gen. So basically, you can tell, like, if that gen was, like, at 90% and you don't want to use your perk, you could be like, oh, I'm going to run away from it because I hear the killer, so you can run away. You'll see it yellow until you start another gen, or until you go into a locker. So yeah, it's really good, but situational. Repressed Alliance, by itself, I'd actually put it low A. So it can also help with the 3-genning bits, where basically you can block a gen after pressing the active ability button. After pressing that, it'll block the gen for 30 seconds, basically almost countering Pop Goes the Weasel or any other gen kicking perks. And basically, and also make it where all survivors can see that aura and basically tell you not to go to that gen because you're going to 3-gen yourself or something. Yeah, that's where I would put Repressed Alliance. Resilience, ooh, this is definitely a high A. Yeah, so when injured, especially in a solo queue, this is really good. When injured, you increase, like, everything. Like, you increase gen working, doing totems, opening chests, healing, opening doors while injured. And it also increases your speed vaulting, which is also really good. But that's where I would put it high A, because it's not S tier, because again, you have to be injured for it, and being injured in the game is never the greatest option, but it's still a good perk overall. I keep forgetting what this is called, but it's a good perk overall. I'd say it's about here. So basically, when you get unhooked from literally when you just get unhooked, your healing progression will be at 50%, and making it easier for survivors to heal you instantly after they unhook you. So that's where I would put it. I keep forgetting what most of these perks are called, but this is situational, and I would put it there, at the high B. Basically, after hitting 3 good skill checks at level 3 again, you'll see every generator that's been kicked highlighted in white to you. Basically, you can tell that gen was either close or was just recently kicked, and if it disappears, it means that gen was fully regressed. Or someone touched it, I don't remember. But yeah, Saboteur, that's where I would put it, but Saboteur, basically, I'd put it here. It's situational. When in Survive Friends and you're doing it like a slug build for like Boil Over or Breakout and stuff, and Metal of Man, that build. Saboteur could be good. It'll show you all the hooks near the down, like after the survivor's been picked up. So which means you can use your Saboteur to like destroy it, and it'll be gone for like a few seconds longer than usual. But and then bring it like a toolbox just in case, because it'll be on like a 30 to 40-second cooldown. Yeah, that's where I would put it. Second win, also situational, but I put it here because after healing someone, you can only use this perk twice. After healing someone fully, this perk will activate, and after you get unhooked, you get the broken status effect, and you'll heal, well, not instantly, but you'll heal after like a 20-second cooldown. Or something like that. I don't remember. It's really good sometimes, but again, it can only be used twice in the game. But yeah, moving on, self-care. My opinion, that's a low A, or actually, a high B, because I'm still kind of getting the glitch compared to back then when I first used it. I'd always get the glitch, but it's now, like, rarely I get it. It'll basically let you heal yourself 50% faster than, like, yeah, it'll just heal you without anyone's help. Overall, it's not the best healing perk, or it's actually a better healing perk compared to most, but it's still not the best healing one. So it's like in the middle, I would say. But yeah, moving on. Self-awareness. Basically a sandbagging perk where basically it'll just go here. Basically, after being in a 16-meter range of a survivor that gets hit, you leave no scratch marks or grunts of pain for like 10 to 12 seconds. Not good, and it's not even that situational. But yeah, that's where I would put it. It's better than most, but Slippery Meat, with its buff recently, it goes to low B. Basically, now it'll give you more chances to jump off the hook. Like, I think it'll give you 3 extra times to jump off the hook, making it kind of easier to try to get off the hook. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that's it. It only works on the hook, and that's all it does. I forgot what this one was. Something game. Small game. Basically, it just shows you it'll just show you or tell you where a totem is in a specific cone range. Which overall, it's good. It's situational. And it'll also tell you how many totems have been destroyed. That's also really good, so actually, I'd put it here because of that. Overall, it's decent, but it could be better. But yeah, moving on, Smash Hit. This might be the second worst exhaustion perk in the game. Even then, it's still a good exhaustion perk, because even if you get the stun off the killer, like you have to get the stun off a killer on a pallet, you get a 4-second sprint compared to other exhaustion perks being a 3-second sprint. Because you have to stun the killer, and then you could be like, alright, 4 seconds, let's go. Just run. Yeah, that's where I would put it. Next, Soul Survivor. I'd put it here. It's not good. You literally have to kill off your teammates for it to activate. And it'll decrease it'll make it where it's harder for the killers to see your aura, which, okay. But you have to wait until more people die, which can only go up to 3 stacks, and to make it where it's kind of harder for the killer to see you. Even then, it's not the greatest. Solidarity. It's a decent one, that's for sure, but I'd put it here because, again, it only works if you and the other survivor are injured, and you have to heal the other survivor first, and then it'll increase your, basically increase your healing progression up to like 50%. Soul Guard. S tier. Basically, after being picked off the ground, or getting yourself off the ground, if there's a hex activated, you get the endurance status effect, which basically makes it where you get a free hit for 8 seconds. So if the killer was slugging you, looking over your body, if you get up, get hits, after before 8 seconds are up, the killer can hit you, and basically make it where you're just you're in the mending state at that point, but still it's like situational, yes, because killers most of the time don't slug, but if they do, it's like yes, it's a yes. Spine Chill, S tier. Reason why is because not only does it increase, like, so every time the killer looks at you, it increases doing a totem, opening a chest, opening a door, doing a gen, but it also increases your speed vaulting, which is good with compared with resilience, but Spine Chill is just better because, yeah, resilience, you have to be injured. For Spine Chill, the killer just has to look at you in like a 40-meter range, and it's like, damn. But yeah, Sprint Burst is probably the best exhaust perk in the game, right there. Barely though, but could be good. But sometimes I get hit through my Sprint Burst, which sucks. That's why I don't run it anymore. But originally, Sprint Burst used to be really good, and I'd usually run it a lot. But now I really rarely don't. But yeah, that's where I would put Sprint Burst, basically. Best exhaust perk in the game besides Adrenaline. Stakeout. It's, I'd put it here. Low A. So basically, after being in the killer's radius, you get a token, and that token, when doing a gen or healing someone, when hitting a good skill check, and turn into a great skill check. And when you're hitting a great skill check with this token, it doesn't consume the token. It just basically keeps it there. So it's like a really good perk by itself. No perks needed. Plus it gives you extra points, so yeah. Streetwise, it's an underrated perk, and I put it at low B because sure, I don't like Streetwise as much, but basically when in someone's radius of the Streetwise, your item doesn't get consumed as fast, but if you have it, it doesn't get consumed at all that fast, and it's like, damn, flashlight users are going to be OP as hell. But yeah, it's situational, basically. You have to be near the survivor, or you have to have the perk for it to not, like, decrease it super fast. Yeah, Technician. With its recent buff, I'd put it here. Basically, it decreases the sound of 8 meters of working on a gen. After missing a skill check, 100% it will not make a noise notification. So yeah, it's a really good gen perk, that's for sure, and it's kind of underrated still, but even then, with its buff, it's kind of getting popular a little bit. I don't know why people don't use it. They're like, but it's just only the skill check one, where basically if I miss a skill check, it doesn't blow up. That's all it does. No, it also makes it where if you work on a gen, it'll decrease the sound by 8 meters, making it harder for the killer to hear the gen being worked on. Because that's what the killers depend on, really. Tenacity. I'd say it's about high B. Reason why is because when crawling, it'll increase your speed of crawling, and at the same time you can recover at the same time, and it's like a really good perk. Oh, be right back, y'all. Sorry, I'm back, y'all. So, lunch took longer than I thought, but I am back. What were we talking about again? Remember Burst, I'm pretty sure. No, it was Technician. I don't remember, but moving on. This is not happening. Also F tier. Actually, hold up. Moving down that list. Sorry, I'm full. Reason why this one is F tier. Okay, give me a second. The reason why this one's F tier, this is not happening if you just joined. The reason why this is here is because it's you have to be injured for it to work, and even then, it makes the great skill check a little bit bigger. It's literally not a good perk at all. But yeah, moving on to Unbreakable. Right here. It's a weaker version of Soul Guard because you can only use Unbreakable once. Compared to Soul Guard, it's where every time there's a hex, you can automatically be like, oh, I can recover as much as I want. Unbreakable is really situational. You have to be slugged throughout the entire game, and it can make it where you can hit 99% of recoveries. But if the second that you see someone the last person goes down, you can instantly get up and run away. Moving on to Up the Ante. Again, a horrible perk. Why? I don't know. It's overall not the greatest. It's actually, ugh. The only thing good about it is it increases your luck if other people are alive. Equaling to like a total of 7% jumping off a hook instead of 4. Yeah, overall, it's not the greatest. Urban Evasion by itself. I'm going to put it here. So basically, when crouch walking, you can basically, it increases your speed by like 95 to I think 100% movement speed while crouch walking, which is really good when you're trying to be really stealthy, especially as a Claudette. I mean what? All right, Vigil, which is with its recent buff. Of course, by itself, it's not good, but when it comes to exhaustion perks, but other things like being exposed or having the hindered effect or anything like that, and it decreases the timer, and that's really good, especially going against like, let's say, Iron Maiden or something like that. But yeah, it's an A tier in my opinion. Actually, I'll make it fair, a high B. Visionary is really situational, but I'd put it here. Basically, if it when no gens are done, like if a gen doesn't pop, it doesn't go on cooldown yet, but basically it'll let you see every gen in like a specific range, every gen. Which means it's really good in specific maps that you're still not used to, like the RPD map, the Resident Evil map. If you can't find a gen with Visionary, you can actually find a gen much more easier. Instead of being like, oh, just running around the entire map and be like, oh, I found a gen, and then immediately dying because you found the gen. Wake Up, really good and really situational. When all gates are powered, you can see both doors, and when opening a door, it increases the speed, and it also shows every survivor your location in 128 meters. So which means throughout the entire map, they can see you opening the gate, and they'll be like, oh, I know where the gate is. I'm going to go run towards it now. Yeah, that's where I would put it. What? We'll make it. Really situational as well. You have to unhook someone, and it increases their speed, and that's about it. By like 100%. And that's really good. And actually, I'm going to move it up to here. It's an A tier, that's for sure. Hold up. Be right back. I'm just getting spammed with notifications. Okay. Actually, hold up. Nope, they're not on. Okay. Well, oh yeah, we'll make it. So yeah, I'd put it A tier because it's really good, but you have to be the person unhooking, and it lasts for until the next person you unhook, and it restarts its timer. Or if you don't, then the timer has like, I think about like 40 seconds long is how long it stays up at level 3, which is really good. We're Gonna Live Forever is a really good blood point perk, but at the same time, it's by itself, it only gives you blood points. That's all it does. Like, but you have to wait until it's safely unhook, or taking protection hits, or get flashlight saves, or saving someone from a trap from Trapper and stuff like that. It's basically how you get tokens for double blood points for that, which is really good. But at the same time, it's like super, like you need to be the one doing all these altruism saves and stuff to get the points. Yeah, moving on. Windows Opportunity with its recent buff of not too long ago, it moves up the list to here. It has no cooldown now, and it goes up to like 24 meters of seeing every pallet, window, and breakable wall. And overall, that's really good, especially when you want to be a looper. Like, if you're starting off the game, that perk is really good, especially if you want to learn like the basics of looping. That's what I would like say. This is the worst boon, but in my opinion, but it's still like a. Actually, no, it's like an 8 here. I'd say it's about. Can't be better than Resilience. No. It's about there. Reason why is because it's super situational. It's probably the it's a better Unbreakable, but not at the same time, because the killer can hear the boon totem because of where you're at. And if you're in the boon totem's thing, you could be like, oh, I'm recovering fast, but the killer could instantly find it and break in. You could be like, oh shoot, I can't get up now. So yeah, basically it's super situational when slugged, and if the killer doesn't find the boon totem at all, but still, it's like, that's why it's the worst boon in my opinion, because it's like Unbreakable a little bit better, but at the same time it's not, because the boon can get deactivated whenever the killer finds it, which is whenever you're in the radius of the boon and they can hear it. So it's like, no. Forgot what this one's called, but it's about here. Actually, no, it's about here for me. No, actually, no, it's not. No, it's about here by itself. So when it's mainly good for solo queuing, but so basically whenever someone messes up a gen, it consumes a token of yours and makes that bad, or makes that failed skill check into a good skill check. So it doesn't make it where they explode. And every time you get a great skill check on anything, basically it turns, or it gives you a token back. So it goes up to 5 tokens and basically turns a bad skill check into a good skill check. Overall, it's decent, but I wouldn't say it's the best. It's only good if you're in like a solo queues, because if you're in Survivor Friends, it's like most of the Survivor Friends you're with are people who actually can hit skill checks. This might be one of my favorite exhaust perks now, but I'd say it's about here. Right above Smash Hit, because, so if you guys know that if you get hit, you get this little speed boost if you're fully healed to injured. You get this, like, little speed boost. This is what, this exhaust perk is basically the same, it will give you that little speed boost for about good 2 extra seconds. Which is, like, really good, because it sure has the shortest, like, timer for it being exhausted, but even then the mini speed boost gives you like a second faster, like a second to 2 seconds, and this gives you 2 extra seconds, so it equals to like 4 seconds fast. But that's all, and also if you're injured and it activates, it's basically also activates while you're on the dying state, which is stupid. That's where I would put it. Alright, time for the Yoichi perks, which I don't really know much about, except for a few. I think this is his boon, and I'm going to put this boon Actually, really high up, probably about here. So basically, in this spoon's radius, you get the haste status effect of 2% faster, and it lingers on after you leave the boon's radius, which is really good in some situations. Combine that with hope and like blood pact, oh god. But by itself, it's really decently good, but it's still an S tier in my opinion because boon totems are just really strong. And now you can have a full boon build now with that perk, but yeah. Parental guidance, it's good, but again, situational. So it's a B tier in my opinion because sure you can stun the after you stun the killer regardless, like with decisive, head on. Actually, I'll move it here. Low A. No reason why. So after stunning the killer, however you want stun them, this is however you do it. Basically, you leave no scratch marks, no blood, no grunts of pain. And yeah, basically combine that with like smash it, decisive, or head on. You basically are invisible to the killer. And if you blind them, that's even better because you can get it way faster. And it's like a cooldown of like 10 to or longer seconds of parental guidance, which is really good. And this one, what does this one do? Oh wait, this is the reverse empathy. I'd put it here. Reason why is because the reason why that's there is because it could be a really bad sandbagging perk, but at the same time, why would you sandbag the person who can increase your healing by 10%? But even then, it's like, empathy is just 10 times better still, but regardless, it's not a good perk, but it's a decent perk, where it's not like a C, D, or F. C, D, and F are literally horrible perks you should never really get, unless you really want to. Everything at B and above you should probably get. But yeah, I put this in B because, yeah, people can just sandbag you whenever they want, because you can't see their aura, but they can see yours, and you won't know if they're killers, stealth or not, so, yeah, it's not the greatest. But yep, that's the end of the Survivor one. That only took me about an hour and a half, even then I did take like a 20-minute break, so, but yeah. Water. So yeah, moving on to killer now. Woo. Even longer times, but oh well. Okay, any nurses calling? Oh, this only goes to D tier, so it's fine. But automatically S tier. The reason why is because everyone heals. Like, this perk is a needed because every survivor heals constantly, and it kind of, it's like, yes, it upsets me when I'm playing Survivor. It's like, wow, they didn't have nurses. That's a really good perk, though. Even then, I don't bring nurses myself, so because I have other good perks. Plus, nurse is only good on a few killers, or specific killers, I should say. Like, Wraith is pretty good, but I don't use it on my Wraith. It's good on Doctor. It's good on Nurse. Like, all those killers, it's good on. Like, those specific killers, I can actually do some things, some damage. But yeah, it's an S tier because you always will see the survivors healing. Unless they have, like, inner strength or something, then it's like, meh. But still, it's like, yeah. Agitation is a B because, again, so, by itself, it's not good, but it's not the worst perk in the game. I would say it's a decently good perk because it increases your speed and heartbeat by a few percent or something like that, a few meters. But yeah, you're faster when carrying someone, and it also increases your heartbeat, so it's good with other perks. But by itself, it's like B because it sure increases your speed, but that doesn't mean anything. Like, the hooks could still be far away. But yeah, Bamboozle, A tier. Blocks every loop when vaulting a window. When vaulting a window, it only blocks one at a time, but it blocks it for a good 16 seconds, I think, max, making it where the loop is kind of harder to loop. So it's a really good perk, but I wouldn't say it's S tier because it has its cons as well, where basically if you vault another window during the loop, like a T&L wall, basically one of those windows will be opened up again and the other one will be blocked. And depending on which window you block is the one that's going to either be good or bad, and it's either or. And it's usually the people block the bad one to block because it's kind of hard to, I think it's the L wall. The T wall is the one you don't, or is the one you really want to block because it's a longer wall. That's why it's called a T wall, because it makes a T. Compared to the L wall, there's only the one wall they can hide behind, if they are lucky. And then there's the window on the long bit of the L wall. And yeah, I would say block the T wall over the L wall and just try to make the survivors block it themselves, and then boom, they can't be at that loop anymore. Yeah, moving on, barbecue and chili, S tier. Reason why is because after hooking a survivor, all other survivors' auras are shown in a specific meters away from the hook. Also gives you increased blood points every time you hook someone, so it's like overall an amazing perk for everyone should have. Probably the best killer perk in the game, not gonna lie. Showing auras after hooking someone and getting blood points at the same time. It's like, yes, every hook you get, it's more and more blood points. Beast of Prey, D tier. I don't know. It's good because it gives you blood points, but it's bad because it only activates if you get bloodlust, and even then, it hides your red stain, but you're still in a chase. And if you lose your bloodlust, it immediately gives you back your red stain. Why? What? No. The only reason why it's good is because it gives you extra blood points to hunting category. It's only good for blood points. That's all it's good for. Nothing else. Sorry, to check if there was someone else watching. Because my phone's about to die and I don't feel like looking at my phone anymore. But yeah. Bitter Murmur. It's a B. It's good, but it's only good when a gen gets done. And you can only use this perk 5 times. When a gen gets done, all auras are shown to you, or all survivor auras are shown to you for like 8 seconds after a gen gets done. I don't remember the max leveled seconds, but it's around there. It's not the double digits, I can say that. Even then, most people gen rush, so it's that perk can instantly be like going from 5 times the use to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, and it just goes too fast, and it hasn't even finished its cooldown yet. So it's like, damn, you just wasted a perk slot basically. Unless you use it on a specific killer, then that's fine. But even then, it's not good. I forgot what this one was called. It starts with a B. It's like blood something. Blood Echo. It's... Excuse me. Gosh, my throat. This live stream, like I said, is going to kill me. But it's fine. I need water. That's probably what my reason is. Okay, so Blood Echo is really good if multiple survivors are injured. If there's only the one survivor injured, it won't do really much. But if there's multiple survivors injured, it basically gives them the hemorrhage status effect and exhaustion status effect, which is really good. And overall, it's a really good, like... It makes it where you counter a lot of survivors, because a lot of people bring exhaustion. Actually, everyone brings an exhaustion perk. Adrenaline is an exhaustion perk, but that one's easier to counter, so... yeah. I'd put it here at A, because it's really good to counter survivors. Blood Warden. My gosh. This perk is a troll, if I've ever seen one. Even then, it's still a good troll perk. Because survivors automatically will sometimes open the door thinking they're safe. But then the second I hook someone, it's like, oh, they ain't safe no more. They just screwed up. So yeah, Blood Warden, really situational, but it's just once you activate it, it's basically like you can either get a free 2 or 3k most of the time. Unless the survivors are really stupid, then you'll automatically probably get a 4k, if lucky. Next, Bloodhound. I'd say it's C tier because, I mean, yes, it's a good tracking perk, yes. But that's only if the survivors are injured. If the survivors are not injured, you won't be able to see their blood as well. Like, even then, the blood can also trick you because there could be 2 survivors injured, and you want to try to go for the one that's, like, you were trying to get one for, like, your barbecue and chili stack, or, like, the one that's on death hook. That's the one you want to try to go for, but there could be 2 people being chased, and you could lose instantly who it was you were chasing with Bloodhound, which is not rarely, but still. It's only good if the survivors are injured, and it shows the blood really neon, but... And actually, because of that, I'm going to move it to low B. It's going to be the lowest B. Brutal Strength. I'd say it's about here. Because, so, when someone drops a pallet, you break it, like, basically almost 2 times faster than usual. Which is really situational and also really good sometimes, when especially going against a loop like Killer Shack. If they immediately drop that pallet, if you have Brutal Strength, instantly break it, and boom, the loop is no longer there. Plus, you can counter Flashlight sometimes if you, like, if the survivors don't notice your Brutal Strength and you just instantly break it and then they try to blind you, it's like, yeah, no, nice try. But yeah, Corrupt S tier. The reason why, it's because it blocks the 3 furthest gens, which I don't think it is anymore, but it should block 3 random gens, I'll say, and basically make it where those 3 gens are the gens that every survivor spawns next to, so it's easier to find which survivor, or where the survivors are possibly at, so you can go to that side of the map and boom, attack them. Easy as that. Color Phobia. This is a C tier for sure, because it's only good if you're in the killer's tear radius. When in the killer's tear radius, it basically decreases the time of healing. By itself, it's not good, but if you're with a killer that has like a 32-meter radius, it's really good, but if it's shorter, then it's like not the greatest. Nope, don't even put it on. Coup de grace. Again, really situational, but I say B because if you do get it, like, if you hold down your lunge attack, it basically increases your lunge by a lot. Have that with a tier 1 Myers, with that one add-on, it's basically like, oh, you instantly can possibly get someone if they're not near any, like, pallet or anything. Cruel Limits, really good, but it, again, can only be used like 5 times, and it blocks like every window, every like vault around you for like a few seconds, and so making it where it's kind of a harder loop to do. But even then, it's not the greatest. It could be better, but and actually, I'm going to put it right here. It could be way better. Dead Man's Switch, I've been seeing a lot of people use it because of a specific YouTuber using it in a video. But I'd say it's about here because every time you hook someone, after one person gets off a gen, it'll block the gen for everyone who are on it. I think it will also show the killer it shows the killer which ones were blocked, which is also like, ooh, that just means they know where they're at. It's a good locator perk, and actually, it deserves A tier, because why not? Actually, I will open chat on my phone. Okay, so hold up. Give me a quick second. I'm going to do that. Okay, so they're not on. Okay, so back to the stream. I was hoping some friends of mine would be on, but they're not, sadly. I totally forgot what this perk does, so... Doesn't it? Oh, it blocks a gen every time. Yeah, I see a gen, so the most progressed gen will get, after a gen gets done, the most progressed gen will be blocked for like 30 seconds. So automatically, I'm putting that high A. I don't really know much about the perk because I don't play Hellraiser and I don't ever plan on buying him, but oh well. Yeah, that's basically where I would put it if I had to put it somewhere. So, yeah. That's where I would put that one perk right here. Deathbound. I would put it here. Actually, here. Reason why is because, so, after healing a survivor, those survivors will be screaming, whoever, and then both the healed survivor and the people who just healed them will be getting the undetectable status, or oblivious status effects if they're away from each other, so they always have to stay next to each other. So with Discordance, it's really good, but by itself, it's like, eh. It just shows where they were screaming, but they could have been gone by at that moment. But basically, if they're away from each other, oblivious status effect, and they can't hear your heartbeat, so they have to depend on like looking around or having specific perks to help them like know where you're at. Deerstalker, an underrated perk, but I'd say it's about here because when slugging a survivor for the 4K, you can see, so every slug survivor, you can see their aura on the ground in like a 32-meter range, so it's so easy to find them. Also, high I'm not going to keep pronouncing that name, damn. Yeah, so I basically put Deerstalker at that because, yeah, it just deserves so much love. Like, it's a really good perk, especially by itself. It's really good if you're, like, slugging. Discordance by itself, oh, that's a really good tracking perk, and I'm putting it at A. Reason why is because, when two people work in a gen, at level 1 mainly, you can tell when, like, at level 1, it's probably the best because it has the lowest time. And so basically, if it doesn't have it yellow anymore, it just means they're not working together anymore. But if it's still highlighted yellow, again, this is level 1, if it's still yellow, that means they're still together, and it's easier to get two people there. And if you only see the one, that means you know the other one's just going to be hiding. So it gives you a better opportunity to find both. Yeah, that's where I would put Discordance. Distressing, so by itself, again, only good for blood points. So by itself, I'd have to put it here in D tier. Again, these are all by themselves, not with other perks. With other perks, a lot of them would be changing everywhere. But Distressing has to be D tier because it only increases your heartbeat. It's only good for like specific killers. And it's good for blood points, but at that point, it's like most of the time it's useless. Because what does it do? It gives you blood points and increases your heartbeat? Oh well. Like by itself, it's not the greatest. It's actually worse than Beast of Prey, actually. If I think about it, because Beast of Prey at least hides a red stain in a chase. Distressing literally just increases your heartbeat and gives you blood points. Okay. Dragon's Grip. I'd say it's about here at A tier because, so if after kicking a gen for 30 seconds, in that 30 seconds, if a survivor touches it, they will scream, making it where you can find them, and they're exposed for 60 seconds, a whole minute. So if the chase doesn't last for a minute, it means you either gave up on them or it's just they instantly went down. But yeah, so Dragon's Grip's really good, but it's not the best compared to the other ones in front of it. Or above it, basically. Because, again, most of the time when people find out you have Dragon's Grip and they see you kick a gen, they'll wait the 30 seconds most of the time, or they go find another gen, because it'll be on like a 120-second cooldown. And most of the time, like, yeah, everyone, like, they see that you had Dragon's Grip, they won't touch the gens they see you kick, so they go to other gens. So yeah, it has a horrible cooldown, and then on top of that, survivors can counter you now because they don't realize, like, they realize that you have it, so they won't touch the gens they see you kick for a while, and they'll just go to another one. Moving on, Dying Light. I'd say B tier because you can't gear Obsession, and once the Obsession dies, basically Dying Light's useless, but if the Obsession's still alive, you can get up to 6 tokens. If you don't have any other, like, Obsession perks by itself, it's still good because it decreases healing time and decreases gen time. But if you have the Obsession, it doesn't affect you, so sad. But, oh well. Enduring by itself, it's an A tier, but it's a low A because, after getting stunned by a pallet, you basically it decreases your stunning cooldown by like 2 seconds to 3 seconds, I don't know. So it basically, in like 2 seconds after being, like, after you get stunned, 2 seconds later, boom, you're back up, and it's like, yeah, that wasn't nothing. Or that was nothing, so you're back up, and it's good on Legion, too. Because when you have Enduring and a survivor tries to, like, jump over the pallet, try to do that stupid tech where they try to run behind you, making you swing, and they just jump over the pallet again, you can just instantly grab them. And they don't realize that. I forgot what this perk does. What does this perk do? Shoot. This is gonna... Give me a second. This is a Nemesis perk, so... Be right back. Dead by Daylight. Nemesis perks. Eruption. What does Eruption from Dead by Daylight do? Oppressions is garbage. But Eruption regresses every gens you kick 6%, and it's only... So after kicking a gen, basically it'll explode or something. Oh wait, you kick a gen and I think you hook the survivor and it'll explode. Okay, I think I know it now. Okay, so I guess it's a B tier? Question mark? I don't know. I'll just put it B tier just for now, but because I forgot all about this perk. But if I think I do remember it being really good, but not that great. So remember, so like if you just got here, S tier is amazing. A tier is great. A tier is now good because there's no F tier. Good. B tier is okay. C tier is like it's alright, but it could be better. D tier is just like, why are you here? Oh, yeah, I'll put it there because I can't really explain it much. So moving on, Fire Up. I'd put it here because, well, I'll put it here. Well, no, it's actually here. So basically, after every, it can get up to 5 tokens. So basically, it makes it where it increases your pickup time, kicking pallets faster, vaulting faster, opening lockers like everything faster. Basically, you're like stuff is increased except your actual speed. So yeah, there's that. But it's really good, but situational in a way. It can counter flashlights if you time it right. Like if you have like already like 3 tokens, you're already pretty fast enough, and you can counter flashlights just like that. With 5 tokens, you literally counter flashlights. Like you just pick up the survivors in 2 seconds. Boom. It's like, yep, nope, that just happened. Yeah. Force pendants. I see this as like a C tier because if a survivor takes a protection hit, they get the broken status effect for like 30 seconds. even then, that doesn't really do much because it's like they were already injured, and it usually does take like 30 seconds to heal, anyways, by themselves. So it's like you're just increasing their time to heal by themselves. If they find another person and they're broken, it's gone, they can just instantly heal with the other person, and boom, it's like done. See ya. Whatever. Yeah, that perk's not the greatest. Franklin's Demise definitely got a buff, and I hated it, but it has to go up to A tier. Reason why is because after hitting someone with their flashlight, there's a timer where basically, after the timer is gone, it basically means it got consumed and it's destroyed. You can't ever get it back. And another thing is it makes it where the charges are disappearing faster. Where basically, if you keep getting hit with your item, it'll basically keep losing its charges every time, making it go to 0, and it's a useless item. So yeah, it can counter a lot of things, and I hate it. Like, it did not need that buff. For Native Chase, it's definitely a C tier because it's only works if you only works if you hook the obsession. You get a stack, and every time someone unhooks the obsession, they become the new obsession. Basically making it where you just keep constantly putting up your obsession and hooking them, and it's like, ugh. And I think it goes up to max of 4, which is weird. Oh, you're trying to put my words into translations. Yes, sorry. I mean, there are subtitles. I hope you know that. Like, you can put subtitles up, like, so you can read it in your own language. So basically just go to settings and just press whatever language you're in, and then just boom, there you can read like subtitles in your own language. Pretty sure that's how it works. Uncertain. But yeah, so that's Furtive Chase. Moving on to this one, it's not the greatest actually. Gearhead, like, I think it's after you hook someone, or no, hitting someone, it'll after hitting a few survivors, it basically shows all gens being worked on highlighted in yellow, which is like, could be better. Actually, it is kind of better than this because it's a locator thing, but even then it's like, no. Shoot, I forgot what this one does. No, I never asked about your age. But, okay. I don't know why you had to say your age. I never asked. So, what is this perk? I forgot what this perk is. Is it the artist one? Yeah, I think it's it's an artist, so give me a second. Artist, or no, Dead by Daylight. Artist perks. That's not how you spell perks. Grim Embrace, okay. What does Grim Embrace mean in Dead by Daylight? Oh, wait. I think I know what this one is. Yeah, I think I know what it does now. After hooking, stream. After hooking all 4 survivors, will block a gen, like, it's only a one-time use. So, it's good, but it's probably the worst B tier, actually, now. So basically, after all survivors have been hooked, all gens will be blocked for 30 seconds. Only one time. That's it. That's all it is. I'm not even going to explain more of it because that's a Dead Man Switch could be good, but it's C because. So after picking up a survivor, whoever's near a hook, you can see their auras for like maybe a few seconds, or as long as the person's on your shoulder, you can see their aura until you hook them or drop them. And if someone sabotages the hook, it instantly comes back after like 3 seconds. So it could be actually, because of that, I think I'm going to put it here, right above Blood Pact. Now I think about it. Yeah, moving on. Hex Blood Favor. Hex Blood Favor. I guess I'm going to put it here. Well, actually, no, I'll put it here. Well, no, I'll put it here. There. So basically, after hit, now I'm thinking about it. I need to put it here. After hitting someone once, all pallets will be blocked to every survivor. And there's no cooldown either, so every survivor that gets hit, while that totem's still up, all pallets will be blocked. So, yeah. That's how strong it is, and it's stupid because it's like 14 seconds until the pallet comes back, and it's like, oh god. Yeah, Hex No Way Out. No, not No Way Out. Hex. It's. Oh, what's this Hex? Crowd Control. Hex Crowd Control. It's a worse Bamboozle, in my opinion. So basically, every time a survivor fast vaults a window, it blocks it for like the same amount as a Bamboozle would. I mean, combine it with Bamboozle, it's good, but again, these are by themselves, and by itself, it's not the greatest because it's like you just block the window if the survivor fast vaults it, and that's it. That doesn't really do much, and I think it only blocks one at a time as well, like Bamboozle. Maybe 2 times, who knows, but if it does, correct me, but it's just going to be like this. Devour Hope definitely moves up that list if you can get 5 stacks. When 5 stacks, well, 3, so 1 stack is good. 2 stacks increases your speed for a few seconds. 3 stacks it exposes survivors. 4 stacks it still exposes survivors. 5 stacks you expose the survivors, and at the exact same time, you can mori them right on the spot without even having them on death hook. So, yay for that. So that's why it's an A tier and high A if you get the 5 stacks. If you don't, then it's like, oh well. That's why it's not an S tier. Haunted Grounds, I'd say it's actually a little bit worse, but it's still an A tier because there's 2 hexes in the game. After cleansing 1 hex, everyone's exposed for, like, level 3. I'm going to say level 3. It's for 60 seconds. During the time, everyone can be instantly downed after the totem gets cleansed. And the other hex will turn to Dole, which is really good and really situational if you can find a survivor during the time of the cleansing. If you can't find one in the during the time of the cleansing, then it's like, well, you're screwed, and you can't really do much about it. So that's why the perk's worse than Devour. Because at least with Devour, you can keep it, like, it can stay exposed forever until it's cleansed, like Noed, which is about to come up soon. But Huntress Lullaby, I'd have to say it's about here. Reason why is because, again, if you get a total of 5 hooks, basically it's literally impossible to hit skill checks for both healing or healing and doing gens. If you get all 5 tokens. And if it does get all 5 tokens, it's like, yay, but at the same time, it's still a high chance of losing it, because after you hook one person, everyone gets notified you have it, so they'll go look for it before doing any other gen, so it's like, great. But yeah. Noed, I think, is like the best Hex perk, even though it's the most annoying, and everyone's like, whoever uses that perk sucks at the game. Like, it just means you don't have map pressure or anything like that. I run it because I'm playing specific killers that are only M1s. Or, like, Huntress, for instance. I play, like, every time I play Huntress, I always have no ed because it increases my speed as well. Because I'm horrible with hatchets, also with that. But I also run it on my Wraith because, defaultly without add-ons, he's a 5.2. With add-ons, he's like a 5.8. With no ed, he's a 6.2. Like, bruh. And then add like, perks that increase your speed. Dude, if you go against a Wraith with speed build, you're literally dead. Like, there's no hope for you. Like, play with your food with the 3 max stacks, no ed, Devour Hope with its second stack, and, Windstorm, or, no, what's, Windbreaker, no, isn't it called? It's the Win one, the Win add-on. I forgot what it's called, but basically with all that combined, you're literally a 6.2, the fastest killer in the game. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Like, nobody can beat Wraith's speed. Alright. Well then, see ya. Thank you for at least joining the stream for a little bit. But yeah, so no ed with like all that stuff is like without any perks, it's still good because it exposes the survivors, and on top of that, it also makes it where it makes it where it increases the speed to all killers. Next one, this one's good but situational. It's only if you can get all hexes up by. So basically, you have to wait until all dual totems are, like, this is the strategy. Wait until all 5 dual totems are cleansed, and then go put up all those hexes, and so you can use it perfectly. So, yeah, so it's good, but this, hex play thing, it's good. It's better than that one. Because it makes a random hex spawn in the middle of nowhere. And basically makes it where you have the Oblivious status effect until someone or you cleanse it. Which most of the time, and if you need to find your totem, it's highlighted pink to you, and only you. But other people can find the totem and cleanse it. But if they can't, it means they haven't been hooked or it had that effect on them yet, so. Yeah, for you, it's highlighted pink in like a 10-meter radius, so. Or, yeah, 10-meter, yeah, whatever. Hex Retribution. This perk's really good, so I'm putting it at low A, because after someone cleanses a Hex totem that's not Retribution, it shows all auras to all survivors for 12 seconds. That's really good. Like, not gonna lie. But it's only, like... Or maybe it's after you cleanse the totem. I don't remember how it works. It's one of the confusing perks. But yeah. Ruin, it's a B tier, because it's not that good anymore, as much as it was originally. Now it's basically, every time someone gets off a gen, it regresses 200% faster. At level 3. And it's like, it's so annoying because it's like, every time you're in like you're about to finish a gen, all of a sudden the killer shows up out of nowhere with Tinkerer or something, or Tinkerer, yeah. Or with Barbecue, and it's like, I was about to finish it, no. And so it's like regressing really fast, and it's like telling your survivor friends, go do it, please. And they're like, we're doing our own gen. So that's why Ruin's kind of, but actually I'll put it here. Alright, Hex Third Seal. This one is going down a list. Right here. So it's good if you can get all survivors blinded. Even then, once they find out you have it, it's like they're gonna go hunt down that totem specifically. So it's like, yay, but nay at the same time, because it's like, after you get the 4 stacks, it's like, alright, you can start slugging people. It's only good at slug builds. By itself, you could just hit the survivor on the ground, and the only people who can find them is if they haven't been hit, or the people who found the totem. So it's like, oh great. So that's why it's Throw the Hunt, it's good. But by itself, Again, it's only good for blood points, so I'd have to put it here. Literally all the blood point perks, besides barbecue and chili, are the worst. It's only good, like, if by itself, no other hexes. If they touch your totem, you get a notification. And you also get notified whenever a dull totem gets cleansed. So it's like leaving you hopeless. It's like, oh my god. But it gives you extra blood points for a hunting category. If it's still up. If it's not up anymore, then it's like you don't get those double blood points. Undying, decently good. Every time you run by a hex, you don't get notified Undying's a thing. But run by a dull, you get notified that Undying's a thing. So overall, it's a low A. By itself, actually, hold up. By itself, it's actually about here. Actually, not even that. It's actually worse than Thrill of the Hunt because by itself, it only shows the aura to people. And even then, if it's just that hex, it's so easy to find because the second they find that one hex, it's like, boom, done. Well, bye. So yeah, it sucks, but it's what it is. Alright, this one, I forgot what it is, but I know what it does. Basically, when someone's opening a chest, you get notified. That's all I have to say for it. It literally is kind of useless. Not gonna lie. It literally just notifies you when someone's on a chest, and it's like, most of the time, it's like you can counter that. I think this is Hysteria. I think this is the one where you basically scream when someone gets hooked. And when you're on a gin, so it's like, I don't know how to feel about that. So moving on, I'm all ears. Still more to go, Jesus. I'm all ears is a really good perk on specific killers, but by itself, it's like it's about here. Could be better, but oh well. Basically, when in the tear radius of the killer or something like that, when fast vaulting, your aura is shown to the killer, and they just know which direction you go for the next like 8 seconds. Yeah. Infectious works, it literally says after downing a survivor. Literally, most of the time it activates when you pick up. It works every time you just grab someone off a gen or a locker. It makes everyone scream around you. It's like, why? Why is that a thing? So that's why it's going up to A tier, because it's broken. And they are not ever going to fix this, I don't think, because they're like, oh, that's fair. It's total fairness. It's like, no, it's not. So yeah, by itself, it's still an amazing perk. I don't know why. Insidious, probably one of the worst perks in the game for killer, because you have to stand still for it to activate, and it takes like 3 seconds, and then boom, you're fully undetectable, and you just can't move for it to activate. So by itself, horrible. In game with other things, horrible. Like, literally, there's nothing good about it. Iron Grasp, it's actually really good. I'd say it's better than Agitation, though. The reason why is because the wiggle bar goes up slowly, making it harder to get out of the killer's grasp. That's where I put it. With its iron, now moving on to Iron Maiden, with its buff, it moves up to A tier. It was already kind of already A tier, but low A, but now it's pretty high up here, right here. The reason why is because you open lockers faster, and when a survivor comes out of a locker, they get exposed for 30 seconds instead of 15, like an original self. So 30 seconds you're exposed, and it's like, oh great, I have to run away now because the killer knows where I'm at as well. Unless you have Calm Spirit, then it's like, I don't know. Knockout, or knockdown? I don't remember. I'd say it's there because, so, with its buff, when downing a survivor, they get like this, like their screen kind of turns black, and they can't hear sound, and they can't see people on the ground either, and the other survivors can't see them on the ground unless they're in specific range. So yeah, that's where I would put knockdown or knockout. I don't know. Lethal Pursuer, a one-time use perk, but even then, the one-time use perk is actually really good. It's a low A because it's only a one-time use, but when When you do use it, in the beginning of the match, you'll see everyone's auras for 12 seconds. Giving you enough time to go to the other side of the map and get them. Lightborn, the one perk that didn't need a buff, got a buff, and it's now S tier because of the buff. Basically, you can now never get blinded, and every time the survivors try to blind you, their aura is shown to the killer for like 12 seconds. Yeah, like that needed to be buff. Original self, it would have been like low A because it takes longer to blind the killer, but now it's like you can't get flashbanged, you can't get firecrackered, you can't get flashlighted, and their aura is shown to you every time they try. So it's like, oh great. And also it doesn't work on blast mine either. So it's like, oh my god, we literally, I hate how strong this perk is, but at the same time, it's like, I use it sometimes if I see, like, a 3-man with flashlights. Because it's like, oh, hell no. Mad Grip by itself, I'd say it's probably C tier. Yeah, literally right there, actually. Basically, it, every time you swing, your cooldown is, like, every time you miss, it's just 2 seconds shorter for missing a swing when someone's on your shoulder, and that's it. Make your choice. I'd say it's about here. It's a really good perk, and also it's a really good tracking perk at sometimes. When you're far away from the person on the hook, the survivor who saves them screams, and they're exposed for like 60 seconds. Man, they really love exposing people for 60 seconds. I don't know why. Or 30 seconds, I don't remember, but still, it's a long time. And basically, the killer can come back to the hook and down that person. And it sucks. Mindbreaker. This is going up the list as well. Because when working a gen, you get the exhaustion status effect and blindness status effect until you get off the gen. Even then, you still get the exhaustion status effect if you're running. But the blindness will automatically go away after you get off the gen. So that perk can counter dead harders or sprint bursters or anything like that, unless they have Vigil. Modern Abuse. Also at another A tier, because it decreases your heartbeat by 8 meters. And dear god, a lot of people use this a lot. Unlike old Deathslinger and old Michael, or the Shape. Making it harder to hear the heartbeat, and it was, the developers actually saw that as a threat, Monitor and Abuse, because they were like, we need to make it where they change up their perks a lot. Me, I don't really change up my perks at all, because they don't care about the perks I use as much, so. Monster Shrine, actually this might be the worst perk in the game, because it decreases your luck if they're in the killer's basement. That's it. Moving on. Nemesis. Basically makes it where someone stuns you, you can see their aura, blinds you, you can see their aura, and they become the new obsession. Basically, I'd say it's C tier, because it's not the greatest. It could be better. The only aura perk that's actually not the greatest, besides Undying. Again, by themselves, it's not the best. With other perks, it'd be greater, but no. No Way Out by itself, literally S tier. Literally, after hooking one survivor, it's 10 seconds. Again, level 3. 2 survivors, 20 seconds. 3 survivors, 30. And then the 4th survivor, 40 seconds long of the door, the gate's lock being blocked. Oh, hi, Wombo. Yeah, it's a lot of perks. This is, by the way, my stream's going for like longer than I think 2 hours now. Yeah, about 2 hours now. The reason why it's 2 hours is because I also did the survivor perks for this game. That took me a while too, plus I did take a break, so. But yeah, No Way Out is really good for, like, pressure-wise. So, yeah. Oppression. It's a really good gen protecting thing, so I put it here. After kicking a gen, whatever gens are being worked on by other survivors, they will get a random skill check, making it, and it's super hard to hit. So it's like, oh Jesus. It's like hitting an overcharge, but faster and unexpected. So, yeah. Speaking of overcharge, it's actually going lower than it because you can actually kick one gen and two random gens will get, like, for oppression. After kicking a gen, the other two gens will get, or other two gens that are being worked on by survivors will be getting a random skill check to them and getting progress or regressed. I don't know. And overcharge only does it to the one gen, and that's only if you kick it, and then boom, if someone else touches it. Yeah, funny thing is they're still not done. There's gonna be even more perks in the future, so this is just like half of it. Like all this, just half of the killer perks. There's still more adding. Possibly. Yeah, overwhelming presence, I think. Yeah, it's overwhelming. This is unnerving. So overwhelming presence will probably go here. It's only good if people bring items. If nobody brings items, it's actually a horrible perk to ever bring, so there you go. Play with your food. By itself, it's a C tier, depending on which killer you're playing as, so yeah. Actually, give me a second. I'm going to press B right back. Give me a second. Damn, okay. Okay, well, I was trying to get Gun to join me, but it didn't work out, so yeah. Oh well, that's going to be talking to myself. Okay, yeah, overwhelming presence only works if there's items in the game, because if there's items in the game, it'll decrease the time of using it. But Pop Goes the Weasel now. S tier automatically. Literally a good perk to bring if you can get the chance of doing so. Actually, you'll be right here. So basically, after hooking someone, you'll get it'll activate for 30 seconds, or I think longer, and or 60 seconds actually. I think they made it 60 seconds now, where basically you can go to any gen of your choice that's been worked on, and it's mainly suggested to go for the most progressed gen. After kicking that gen, it'll go down 25%, which is really good. So yeah, Predator, I'm sorry, but if you like this perk, it's not the greatest. It basically makes it where the scratch marks are not wider, it's skinnier to see where they're running at. Even then, it's not the greatest, but it could be... Actually, I'll put it low C. It's actually really good in some cases, but other cases it's like you really won't need it in the future. Plus, it's harder to see the scratch marks. Rancor, Noed's baby brother or sister, whatever you want to say. I'm going to put it here. Basically, after a gen gets done, the survivor who's the obsession sees the aura of the killer, and the killer can see the location of every survivor. But not their aura, only their location for a few seconds. And that's only where they were just standing before the gen got popped. So basically, it's not the greatest location perk, but it's not the best. It's not the best or worst, like, basically. And then after all gens are done, basically the obsession will be exposed, and you can instantly down them with Rancor and mori them on the spot, without them being even hooked once. So it's a really good perk in some cases. Remember Me, another good perk to bring, especially if you want to slow down the games. I would say it's good here. You can only go up to 4 stacks, but by itself, it basically takes like 20 to 30 seconds longer to open a gate compared to its normal time being just normal 30 seconds. So basically, with 4 stacks of hitting your obsession 4 times, basically, it's harder for you to open the gate as a survivor. As a killer, it takes you about... It's like, yay for me, because it's like, they're trying to open the gate, but it takes a minute to open now because of it. Okay. But moving on to Save This for Last. Another S tier. Only this time, it's a high S tier. There's rarely any S tier killer perks, but there's some that are close. So basically, Save This for Last. When your obsession's still alive, you can earn tokens from hitting other non-obsession people. Whoever's your non-obsessions, just hit them, and then you'll get a token. Max of 8 tokens. When you hit 8 tokens, your cooldown of hitting any survivor will be decreased to like after hitting someone 2 seconds later, boom, you instantly like can almost down them automatically if the survivors are not paying attention. After hitting your obsession once, you lose 2 tokens. After hitting your obsession 2 times, you lose 4 tokens in total, equaling to only 4 tokens left on your person. And once the obsession dies, whatever tokens you have left is what the tokens you wind up for the rest of the round. If you're at 0, you're at 0. If you're at 1, 1, etc. So, gotta be careful of how many tokens you use. These are the Scourge hooks. I forgot what this one does. This one I know makes it where you scream, I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna put it here. I'm just gonna make the Scourge hooks right next to each other because I totally forgot what they do. Oh wait, this one, I'd say it's about there. Okay, I don't know what to say about the Scourge hooks because I don't have any of those survivors or any killers who have those Scourge hooks. So it's like, oh well. Shadowborn. It's good on specific killers, but by itself, it's actually a really decent perk. Not gonna lie, it's actually a really decent perk to put on a killer, especially as like a nurse, huntress, those specific killers. Like, those are really good for. Because by itself, it's decent. Sloppy Butcher, though. It definitely slows down the game a little bit when trying to heal. Kind of. There's a lot of perks that counter it, though, so gotta be careful of that. Yeah, that's all I could say about it. Is it's a really good perk to use if you want to slow down healing. Spies from the Shadow's a good location perk, but it's not the best, so I'd put it there. By itself, it's actually really decently good, but it could be way better, and it's sucks. It only gives you a notification of whenever a crow gets disturbed. Even then, most people don't use it. It's a really underrated perk. Spirit Fairy by itself, it's good, but the stun, you have to wait until you're stunned and then it activates. So I'd say it goes here. It breaks the pallet after you get stunned, but even then, without any other perks to back it up, it'll take forever to get out of that stun phase. So it's like, ugh, whatever. Starstroke's actually a really good perk, and people should start using it more. I'd put it here. So after picking up a survivor, every survivor in your terror radius, or everyone who can hear your heartbeat, is basically exposed for it until they're out of the terror radius, or until the survivor's hooked, and everyone will be exposed for their timer starting now after that person gets hooked, or after you leave the terror radius. It'll start now, right after that happens, and it'll be a total of like 30 seconds until you're done being exposed. So... And if you go back in the terror radius while still having the exposure, it'll, while the person's still being carried, it's, yeah. You'll go back to, your timer going back to, restarting. So yeah, that's where I would put it. Strider's really situational, but I'd say I put it here. Can counter Iron Will, can be good on a lot of killers, and that's about it. Basically, you can hear people breathing louder, especially while having perks that counter breathing. Alright, Surge or Jolt, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to put it here. Basically, after downing a survivor, all gens around that area will be... So, all gens around that area... Okay, let me think. All gens around that one area Ooh. Well, after downing that survivor will blow up if they have regression. Surveillance. It's actually a really location perk. I'd put it here. After kicking a gen, or after like any perk that kicks any gen, like Jolt, Ruin, or just you kicking in general, basically that gen will be highlighted in whites. And if a survivor touches it before it's fully regressed, it will turn yellow, won't give you a notification. You'll just have to keep looking back and forth at that gen. And if it turns yellow, it means the survivor has touched it, and you can go straight back to it, and it'll be highlighted in yellow for about like 6 seconds. And then it'll turn red, and you'll be like, wait, that gen was almost done, and I know I just kicked it, so it's like, if it's already looking red, it means they touched it, and you just didn't pay attention, so, yeah. Another perk, tutorial, it's actually really good. I'd put it here. It's basically every time someone goes into the basement, getting situational, every time someone goes in the basement, the aura is shown for a good like 6 seconds, and basically, yeah, and it's on like a 40-second cooldown, and basically every time someone goes into the basement, you get notified. That's it. Nobody ever brings it, so. Phobia, S tier. Sure, it lost its like way of healing, but it's still S tier in my eyes because it still slows down the game every time how many survivors are injured. One survivor, it's like 16 seconds or 16% slower to do gens or totems. With all 4 being injured, it's like almost 40% or 40%. It's still pretty strong. Okay, so Thrilling Tremors, I'd also say S tier, but higher than Thanophobia because it's also a good location perk. Basically, after picking up a survivor, it'll block every gen that's not being worked on, but every gen that's being worked on will be still red. And that means it will give you, you'll be like, oh, someone's on that gen. After I hook this person, I need to go to that one gen. So it's a good location perk. This, Discordance, and Barbecue are the 3 best location perks in the game. Basically, one telling you if 2 people are working together, one telling you when picking up a survivor, telling you who's working on what gen or not working on any gens. Barbecue just tells you where everyone is, so. Tinkerer, another good perk. I'd put this higher than Discordance. So when a gen is close to being done, you'll get the undetectable status effect, and on top of that, you'll get notified which gen is almost done, giving you enough time to go over there, sneak up to those specific survivors, and just grab them, or scare the living hell out of them. So yeah. And you can stop them from working on that gen unless they are really going to commit to it. And they possibly could have spine, so that's why they're committing. Trails of Torment. It's okay. It's a B. Could be better, but after kicking a gen, it'll be highlighted yellow to every survivor, and you'll be on the undetectable status effect. When a survivor touches that gen, or whenever you hit a survivor to healthy to injured, injured to dying, basically you'll go back to having a heartbeat. So it's gives you a non-heartbeat for a while, but then like those circumstances, you'll have a heartbeat back. That's why it's actually going down the list again. Overwhelming underwhelming presence. I'm going to put this here. So basically makes it where the skill checks are smaller if you're in the killer's chair radius. But it also makes it easier for you to hit great skill checks. So, yeah. It's good, but bad at the same time. Underwhelming. This is actually a really good underrated perk, and nobody ever uses it. So basically, after missing one swing, you basically have a cooldown of like 2 seconds after missing one attack. It's kind of a good Save Less for Last, but Save Less for Last is better because its cooldown is just super fast, but underwhelming, or whatever it's called. I don't care anymore, but basically it's so underwhelming. Yeah, I think it's called underwhelming. Basically, it just like, it's always faster and faster and faster. Location Perk? I said Perk. Also, I might have said, if I did say Burk, it means I burped at the same time. Also, I'm out of breath, and plus my throat hurts at the same time because I've been streaming for 2 hours just talking about perks and where I would put them on a tier list. Whispers, good location perk. I'd say it's about here. No, here. So basically, every time you're near a survivor, it'll go off and basically go like, wow, like whispering in your ears, basically telling you if a survivor's nearby or not. That's all you'll hear is the noise of like someone whispering or muttering, whispering. So it's decent, but it could be again better. I don't even know what the picture's supposed to be of, but it's so weird. So basically, when you're near a survivor, it'll go off and stuff like that. So yeah, tac something tactics. I forgot what it was called, but it basically shows you every palette and window, just like a Windows opportunity. I'd say it goes here. I don't know what else to say about it. It just does that. This one, oh, shoot. The Scourge Hook is kind of bad, but it's still B tier. No, that's not even the Scourge Hooks. Whoops. This is the Scourge Hook. Oh, this one is the one where if she kicks the gen, it regresses 200%. And if someone hits a good skill check, basically it will give you a notification. So this one's actually a really good perk. I'd say it's better than Surveillance. This one's actually really good too, but I'd say it's weaker than Surveillance. So basically, this one is basically where if it hits 90%, it'll basically give you random skill checks. And if you miss one or get off the gen, it'll basically block the gen for like 30 seconds. So yeah, that's where I would put it. And that's the end of the killer tier list. And the end of the live stream, basically, because I done both killer and survivor, and I'm getting tired. So yeah, and I might do another live stream later. Who knows? Depends if I feel like it or not. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy this live stream, please leave a like, please subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified when I go live upload a video. Also to make sure to check, well, Discord servers and other live streams in the past. I won't do it in this one. But anyways, I hope to see you all in the future. Bye.